Hi, everybody. Today we're going to talk about quality engineering insights. So I'm going to start on the integrations page just to show you where we're getting all of the data that you're about to see from, right? So there's a number of different sections, but basically it's pulling data from test case management platforms, reporting platforms, production incident management platforms, and various other tools like bug tracking and so on. And that allows us to build up contextual information that makes the data that we show more powerful. So currently I've connected to GitHub for source code and PRs and so on, Opsgenie for incident management, Jira for defect leakage, cycle time, and so on, test management for test case management, and our test reporting and analytics tool for things like build stability and performance and so on. Right? And you can link whatever you want to this. We're not kind of married to any one solution. You can see there's a lot of different things here like Jenkins and stuff as well. So I'm going to go to the home page. And here you've got like a number of things that you can see, like defect leakage, cycle time, automation coverage, regression stability, and a breakdown by the teams that we have defined. And you can have any number of teams there. We just have 3 for demo purposes. On the right-hand side here, you see a net quality score. And that score is determined by the kind of the data that is present in coverage, quality, automation, and velocity, all of which are sections you'll see over here, and that will come to as we go through. In the view details, you'll see that, its quality is quite good, the automation is quite poor, and the velocity is quite poor, and coverage is quite good too. And that's all led up to that score of 3.43, and it's a score out of 5. So it's still a pretty good score, but there's work to be done. And how we kind of identify what's going well and what's not going well is via these key wins and focus areas, right? So if I click in here, you'll see there's a number of key wins. A lot of different information is being presented here. It can be a bit overwhelming, but if we focus on things like automation coverage increased by 0.23%, the time to acknowledgement in the 95th percentile has decreased by 62%, which means we're acknowledging incidents much quicker, and that's that's a good thing. Alerts exceeding the mean time to acknowledgement threshold have decreased by 66% following an uptrend of 2 months. So it had been going up over the last 2 months, and now we've seen like a 2/3 decrease in this past month. These are good things, and these are things that can help to motivate your teams to say, like, good job, you're doing well on these areas. But the focus areas are areas where we might need to do some improvements, right? So things like build duration steadily increasing by 25% is not great. Total alerts increasing by 160%, also not great. And it's important to show these as kind of like areas that will need to be focused on and areas that will need to be improved. And these can be transformed into key wins with that effort being put in. We also have dashboards where you can build out various different widgets. So I'll just click into this one. And you'll see here that you can go a few more widgets, and they're broken down by each individual section, or you can have them all in one place. Coverage is things like total test cases, automation coverage. Automation has build stability, job frequency, flakiness. Quality has defect leakage and defects by status and all that kind of stuff in there. And then velocity is stuff like cycle time and average review time and so on. And then delivery and incidents are new. Delivery is more around kind of like code deployment for development, the amount of time spent on PR development, the amount of time spent on code reviews, the number of average lines per PR, and so on. And then incidents is kind of like the mean time to resolution, mean time to acknowledgement, and so on. So there's a lot of information that you can kind of pull out of this, and basically allows you to build one single dashboard that contains various different pieces of information from all of those sections that you can then share to your senior stakeholders. They don't need BrowserStack access for that. You can share a public link with them, and they can just view it and get a good view of the overall quality without having to go in and build it themselves. You can set goals as well. We won't really focus on that today, but you can set different metrics that you want to hit or KPIs that you want to hit as you go on. So coverage is kind of your automation coverage and so on. You get nice breakdowns in here, and you can filter it by the team, by the priority, by the status of the automation, and so on. So if I wanted to just see what team design is done, I can then apply that. And you'll see here that their automation coverage is 100% and they have 87 total test cases with 0 manual. Good for them. And then in quality, you've got the defect leakage and all the other things like total defects, defect density, and so on. In automation, you have build stability and you have total number of jobs configured and total number of automated tests. You get a nice breakdown of trends and the job types and so on. Velocity is our kind of cycle time. So how much time are we spending in development versus review versus testing, and also deployment. The two new sections are delivery, which is more development focused. So you can see the deployment frequency is 0.77. Our PR cycle time is around 12 hours. And then it breaks down the cycle time by coding time, idle time, review, and merge. You can see how many abandoned those PRs there are, how many average line changes there are for PR, and you can build out all that information. And then incidents is coming from like an incident management tool like Opsgenie, which is the only one we support at present, but we are adding support for PagerDuty in the future. And you can see there's 241 alerts, which is up 28%. You can see the mean time to resolution is 1 hour and 23 minutes with a mean time to acknowledgement of 3 minutes, which is down 80%, which is good. And you can see alerts by priority broken down by P1, P2. You can see ones that have breached the threshold, which 40% of which were P2 and 60% were P3. The trend of alerts has gone up. The mean time has gone down. That's good for us. And that's kind of all the information in one place. And then you build from that data, you build out your dashboards. So it's very much reliant on having good data in place and connecting the various different tools that you use for test case management, for reporting, for Jira, bug tracking, whether it's Azure, Asana, Jira, whatever you might use. And then your incident management using Opsgenie. And then connecting GitHub then gives you all the delivery metrics that you need as well. So it's basically kind of an all-encompassing one-stop shop for tracking quality at a high level. And it's really something that we gear more towards senior personas, or at the very least have your kind of leads or managers build out for senior stakeholders so that they can see a very kind of, top level holistic view of the quality of all the teams, one team in particular, or a subset. Basically, the power is in your hands. So what you want to do with it, we can do.